Comparative embryology. Comparative embryology is the study of structures that appear during the development of different organisms. Closely related organisms have similar stages and structures in their development. This gives evidence for evolution and common ancestry. So if you look at the top row of embryos, they all look identical, everything from the fish to the human. But also notice in humans there are these gill slits. They're called pharyngeal gill slits, which are common for all chordates, which all these animals shown here are. So the gill slits become a tube that connects the throat and the ear in humans, but in the fish the gill slits stay there to allow water to access the gills. Human embryonic development. Early on in embryonic development, humans possess features that our evolutionary ancestors had. The older the embryo gets, the more it loses these ancient features because they develop into a more modern feature. Take for example the tail. It's a lot longer in a human embryo, but then as the human embryo gets older and develops, this tail shrinks into a very short tail bone. Apoptosis. Apoptosis, or programmed cell death, occurs within the webbing of the hand to allow for the development of fingers and toes. This also causes a tail to be reabsorbed and gill slits to become structures of our face and neck. So on the left we have a picture of a 48-day-old human hand with the webbing, and then a fetal hand after apoptosis. And in very rare circumstances, sometimes a person may have a little extra webbing between the fingers or the toes. Fossil record. The fossil record is the ordered array in which fossils appear in layers. Erosion of sand and silt cover the landscape and press down on the older layers, compressing them into hard rock. This takes millions of years. When organisms die, their remains get trapped by the next layer of sediment caused by erosion. So the remains that we see as fossils are actually rocks. So dinosaur bones are not bones, they're actually fossils, they're rocks. The organic tissue gets replaced by the inorganic substances in the sediments. So the fossil forms and gets trapped inside a layer. The layers are laid down through time, and then the oldest layers are on the bottom and they contain the oldest fossils. So in these layers of fossils, we see that the older ones, the older rocks, have the older fossils and more simplified animals. Not as complex as the animals on the topmost layers, because the layers on top are more recent, they're not as old, and so that also shows evolution through time. The animals become more complex as they evolve from their simple common ancestors.